we are a member of the JCP or Java ME Executive Committee, and we are a member of the different JSRs at the JCP committee as well. And we also won the 2006 JCP Member of the Year award. So our commitment to Java is quite high, or really high, at Sony Ericsson. It is in the top focus of Sony Ericsson. Looking at what happened in 2003 when we launched our first Java device, which was the T610, then Java was quite bad at Sony Ericsson. We received the worst results of all different manufacturers out there around Java. And then we thought, okay, what is wrong here? Because the first game I ever saw on a device was a very simple game. It was a drag racing game where you could only see the steering wheel, and you had two buttons to press in order to hit the different gears that were supposed to shift. So then we thought Java was this kind of platform, but and MoFun was the gaming platform by that time for us at Sony Ericsson. But when we then saw Nokia devices coming up with games that were as good as the MoFun games, or even better, we thought, oh, we have probably done something wrong here with our Java platform, because it was the lack of performance and these kind of things that was really bad at our devices. And then we started looking more and more into what Nokia have done that is really good. And what they had done was they had implemented something called Nokia UI API. And that we didn't find out until we started buying, I don't know how many games we bought. We bought tons of games, and we had cooperations with gaming developers, so they send in a lot of games to us as well. And when we analyzed all these games, we found out that they had this Nokia UI API. I think it was, I did a survey on that, and I think it was almost 80% or even 90% of all the games used Nokia UI APIs in the early days of 2003. And because they used this API, they could not run on our devices either. So that became a big focus of that Sony Ericsson. It was not that we needed to be compliant with the TCK and MIDP anymore. We needed to be compliant with what's out there on the market. And we all know that Nokia is a big player around this. So we added a Nokia UI API. And in 2004, in the K700, we saw that we're going from the worst to be actually on the top of the manufacturers around Java here. And we also added Mascot 3D API, Mascot Capsule 3D API, which we were the first vendor to have a really great 3D development platform as well. So we saw, for instance, a tennis game that we preloaded on our K700 that received excellent reviews, and the performance was great by that time for 3D games as well. So we have done quite a lot around Java since 2003, and then come out to 2004. And that history then continued over time. So in 2005 we saw that, now we have a real big momentum around Java and games. So then we continued with a device called W550. And this W550 was a gaming device with A and B buttons. I don't know if you all remember that one, but it had A and B buttons, and you played in a horizontal mode instead of having in portrait mode while gaming. So then we were in the top of the gaming developers as well, and we received excellent reviews around our performance in our devices then, because that was a big shift for us when we went from the T610 to the K700. We had built up this big bank of content, and we continued building this over time now. We still collect a lot of content. From the beginning it was mostly games, but the shift we saw in 2006 when we went into, for instance, that was the K800 device. Then we became more of an application platform, where we saw a lot of applications being developed for our phones, and for third parties that had good connections with our customers, the operators. We saw this as being a very important step, that we added a multitasking VM, for instance, to run several applications at the same time. So from 2005 we were a gaming platform, and then 2006 we became more of an application platform as well, still continuing with a strong platform around gaming here. So And then looking at ahead there and what happened in 2007, we continued building on the application story, and we became MSA compliant in 2007. So that was also a huge step for us, and I mentioned that we had 19 or shipped or announced devices in 2008 now with MSA compliance. So MSA has been really important to us as well, to say that we are MSA compliant. And looking at what happened now in 2008 is that Java has become a first-class citizen within Sony Ericsson. Even our native applications is being developed with Java as well. So we have seen this big shift, whereas we started off in early days with a gaming platform that evolved to be even more focused on gaming. And then in 2008 we see that it has become our first-class citizen at Sony Ericsson. Well, the different developer resources that we have, of course, is the SDK that you can download for free. And also you have a lot of developer guidelines. And there are lots of examples, and as I mentioned, please read the forums and reply to things in the forums, or ask new questions in the forums, because that's how we have seen that we can evolve and get a better relationship with the developers outside. And we have understood that the third parties are really important. They are key to us. They are the ones that is building up our propositions around our devices with games or applications. I mean, both are as important for us. So, I mean, looking at the different relationships we have had and who has been really active in the developer forums, we can see that the ones that have been active, they are really important to us as well. So, quite often when I receive questions from third parties as well, because that I do quite a lot, I can very easily direct them to the developer world as well. I mean, looking at the questions I get, 80% of them I can answer with, please have a look at the developer guideline at page, I don't know, 79 or something like that for certain information. So the information is there, and we see that a lot of people visit these sites often, but continue to make it even more often, and continue to go to our developer world to find information, because it is there. If you have any additional questions, I will be at the Java forum at Developer World. Thank you.